Welcome back everyone to another build order tutorial. Today we're looking at Drush FC into archers. Now it's going to be a 29 plus 2 population build order. That means you get 29 villages before clicking up to Feudal Age, and then you get an extra 2 villages whilst you're in Feudal Age before you click up to Castle Age. So with Drush FC you need to be careful about the type of map that you have. If it's really open you're going to find it difficult to wall up, so you need to think about perhaps a different strategy. In addition, just have a think about what your opponent's going to go for. If you think they're going for scouts, it's probably a bit more viable for Drush FC. If they're going for archers, it's just a bit more challenging. They may be able to get into your walls, and that's a problem. You may need to kind of wall behind your existing walls with markets, but you know that's going to eat up into your wood count and it's going to delay your castle time. So just have a think about what kind of strategy your opponent's going for as well. Now the good thing about this build order is that it resembles a lot of my other build orders for the first 16 villages. The first 16 villages do exactly the same thing as I do with many of my other build orders, and I've done that on purpose because that develops a bit of muscle memory and enables you to do the first 16 villages kind of on autopilot before you really decide what you want to do, depending on the map and the civilizations that you have and that you're going up against. So just as for example with the 21 population man-at-arms into archers build, we start off with 6 on sheep, send 2 to wood, and the next villager grabs the boar. Now the next 2 villagers from the TC will go to the wood line as well, making a total of 4. So the first 16 villagers for this build order are exactly the same as the 21 population man-at-arms into archers, and you can check that build order in the YouTube playlist. So there we are, there's the 4th villager on wood. Now the next 2 villagers will go to berries, but the first one that comes out will build 2 houses near the berries and they will act as part of your wall. Make sure you force drop with your villagers from underneath the TC because you need to keep your TC running, and force dropping is you need to do it to keep the food count up to continue with villager production. There's that villager producing the 2 houses, building the 2 houses, and the next villager is going to build the mill. At this point, you're going to need to grab your boar. Now, you can send the next villager from the TC to the boar, but the boar in this case is a bit far out, so I actually took a villager from underneath the TC a little bit early to grab the boar, and then I replaced that villager with a villager from the TC. That's just to stop the idle time of villagers. If you really have to, you can take another sheep. It's just it's not the most efficient way to do things. So it comes with experience. You can kind of have a rule of thumb, perhaps around about 120 to 140 food on the boar before you grab your next one, but it just all depends how far away it is. So once you've grabbed the boar, you'll have 8 on the boar at the moment, and the next 2 villages will go to berries, so that will make 4 in total on berries. And so up to now this totally resembles the 21 population man-at-arms into archers, but this is where it's slightly different. So the next villager is going to build a house, and then when that villager can afford it, or when you can afford it, you're going to build a barracks. The next thing to do is actually get loom, and then the next villager is going to go to gold. So now that we have loom, you're going to afford the barracks, so you build the barracks. So as a recap, after you've had the 4th villager on berries, you send a villager forward to build a house and the barracks, you get loom, and then the next villager is going to go to gold. That gold villager is going to just collect 10 gold only. Once he's collected 10 gold, he goes to berries. The villager after that will go to walling. You want to find out a wood line that you can wall from and work your way around. Now the good thing is you've got loom already, so this villager should be safe hopefully. Unlikely that scouts will be in, well, it's 7.5 minutes, so that's not going to happen. But the villager's nice and safe. Now that we've got the barracks up and running, we're going to train 3 militia and keep on walling with that villager that built the barracks. And now that villager came from the gold to the berries. The next 4 villagers would go to wood. We've had one come out already, and that's the second of the 4. Next 2 villagers will go to wood. To make 8 in total, just 1 more we're waiting for. So as a recap, we took 1 villager to build the barracks, house and wall. We got loom, we sent 1 villager to gold for 10 gold and then to berries. 1 villager to walling, and then 4 villagers to wood. Okay, now that we've got 4 villagers on wood, the next 3 villagers will go to berries. Now of course we move forward now with our militia and our scout, and hopefully we'll be causing a bit of havoc against our opponent. As we said, 3 villagers, 2 berries. That villager was going to the wood is because I was probably preoccupied on the front a little bit. But I corrected that of course. And when the sheep are all taken underneath the TC, they go to straggler trees, these villagers, and you start dropping farms when you can afford it. That's the 3rd village to berries. Now the next 3 villagers will go to gold, and then you'll click up to Feudal Age. Meanwhile, you keep dropping farms as soon as you can afford it. And we're almost walled up. Of course, we build a mining camp. Okay, we've basically got fully walled up by basically 12 minutes into the game. And we've clicked up to Feudal Age. So we continue to drop farms when we can afford it as soon as we hit 60 wood. And at this point, hopefully we keep our Drush alive for as long as possible, causing as much damage as possible. And as soon as we can afford it, we take 2 villagers from the mill, the berries, to drop 2 farms. Okay, so now that you're almost up to Feudal Age, don't forget your 2 walling villagers will be going to wood. Your 2 new villagers from underneath the TC will be going to wood. And what you'll do is when you have your berries expired, which is just about now really, you send 4 of them to gold, and you send 2 of them to build your archery range and your blacksmith. Once these 2 buildings are done, you'll be ready to click up. So as a recap, your walling villagers go to wood, your 2 villagers from underneath the TC, when they're produced, go to wood, waypoint them there, and your 4 villagers from the berries will go to gold. You took 2 villagers from berries to build the archery range, the blacksmith. They'll build 2 houses. Once these buildings are done, you click up to Castle Age, as you can see we've done. And once these 2 houses are built, you're going to build your 2nd archery range and take things from there really. Keep your Drush alive for as long as possible if they still are alive, because you'll be adding some archers in there. And you'll need to keep building houses, because when you have 2 archery ranges, you will produce a lot of units very quickly. We get double bit axe, build your archers, and you get fletching. So at this point we'll have double archery range production. You can get your gold mining upgrade as well. That will certainly help things. And that's more or less your build order. So from here you've got a couple of options. You can think about dropping a 2nd TC once you've hit Castle Age, but if you want to be a bit more aggressive, you can just keep adding villagers to gold at this point. You're going to be short on gold if anything. And yeah, just keep up with your production of archers. You may want to think about dropping a forward siege workshop, a couple of mangonels. You may need to also think about getting ballistics, but you're not going to be able to do all of that in one go. So you probably want to think of either going for ballistics and a forward siege workshop with all new villagers from the TC going to gold and wood, or you would want to think about perhaps getting a 2nd TC. Either way, you're going to need to get crossbow upgrade and bodkin as soon as you get up to Castle Age, because really that's what you need your units for, and they're very important upgrades for your crossbowmen. So I hope you enjoyed that build order tutorial. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section. Drush FC is an interesting one. You really have to have a decent map and make sure you're walled up early, and that's why we've gone for 29 villagers. It gives you that extra breathing room and early walling capabilities. If you're interested in more content like this, do check out the playlist for build orders. A lot of the build orders start off the same. That adds to your muscle memory. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully see you in the next one. Take care, guys.